for sleeping pads, there are actually two different types of sleeping pads that you might take with you on a backpacking trip. And just to start with, when I was planning for the AT and I saw that the sleeping pad was on a gear list, I was like, what in the world? Like, sleeping pads are for sissies. I've never used that while camping. But on an extended backpacking trip or for more than a couple nights, I promise you, you're going to wish you had some sort of sleeping pad. The two types that you generally see are what is called the CCF pad, and that means closed cell foam pad. And I remember thinking, what in the world is a CCF pad? And I was getting just, overwhelmed with all of the information online, but it's just a foam pad. There are different types, and I actually don't have one here with me. These are both the other type of pad, which are inflatable pads. So we have the self-inflating inflatable pad and then the manual inflatable pad. All right, so let's talk about foam pads in a little bit more detail and the benefits of using a foam pad. So they are much cheaper than inflatable pads. They are generally lighter than inflatable pads. They are warmer, so more insulating because it's foam material, so it's like closed material, not something the air is able to flow through. And I started off with a foam pad because I was like, I didn't really think I even needed one, but I did, and I'm glad that I had something. But I just couldn't see spending a lot of money on an inflatable pad. It didn't seem important to me. I went with a Wenzel brand foam pad, which was like $10 to $15, and I think it was 12 ounces to start with, but I trimmed it, and that's another benefit of the foam pads is that you can trim them to drop some weight, and fit your height. I was in a hammock, and for the hammock it actually worked nicely. So some of the drawbacks of a foam pad, they are bulkier, so they don't usually fit inside of your pack. Normally you're having to like tie it to the outside of your pack, and they're just not very comfortable. If you sleep on anything but your back, it's just really not comfortable. I even tried sleeping on a different type of foam pad before I went out and spent the money on an inflatable one. I tried, like, they've got ones with the little zigzags in them, and some of them fold like accordion style, but mine rolled up. So I tried sleeping on that, and again, it just was not comfortable. By New Jersey, I had had enough of the foam pad, and I was not sleeping at night. I was waking up with my hip hurting, and I finally said, that's it, I'm gonna have to upgrade to an inflatable pad. All right, so back to the inflatable pads. This is a self-inflating pad. It is about 3.5 pounds. It's over 3 pounds anyway. You can see how bulky it is. This is actually kind of what a foam pad looks like. So you don't want to get this. You're gonna have a hard time fitting this in your pack. You would have to put this on the outside of your pack. But the self-inflating pads, I mean, they say, you can hear it, they say self-inflating, but you are generally going to want to blow them up some more anyway. So basically, you just leave it sitting here, it'll suck in some air, and it will be more comfortable than a foam pad, for sure, don't get me wrong, but I mean, this is just super, super heavy. When I decided to finally upgrade to a inflatable pad, I decided I was going to go big or go home, so I got the Thermarest Neo Air Extra Light, and I have to say, I mean, I absolutely love this sleeping pad. Like I said, inflatable pads are generally heavier than foam pads, but in my instance, my foam pad was about 10 to 12 ounces, and my inflatable pad was actually the same weight. So I was like, perfect, yeah, I'm spending more money, but I'm going to be much more comfortable, and I'm not adding any weight to my pack. And honestly, with a sleeping pad, if you can invest, it's just so important to get a good night's sleep. So now the only drawbacks to inflatable pads are they're not as durable as your foam pads. And then also, when you get to camp, instead of being able to just throw down your sleeping pad and not worry about it, you kind of have to scout out the area, but make sure you're not going to poke it with a stick and pop it and all that. But I mean, they're not that easy to tear up. But anyway, also you have to inflate it. So you can't just go in there and flop down. You have to okay. So your lungs get a good workout. So another drawback for this one in particular, this kind of sounds like what we said, you're sleeping on a bag of chips. So, if you sleep in a shelter, folks will hear you toss and turn a little bit. You'll hear yourself, might wake yourself up a little bit. And one of the most depressing parts of being a thru-hiker and being in your tent and hearing it rain outside and everything is this moment right here. That sound, because that means you have to get up and go hiking it. Anyway, I hope that this was helpful, and we will see y'all next time. Okay, so I am here at Amicalola State Park, and I am about to hike the approach trail. Just weighed my pack in and signed the register, so I'm off.